Welcome to the final video of all the previews of all the nations heading into the Euros. And the final nation is a nation that recently won the European Championships thanks to Portugal. Portugal, who have one of the most talented teams at this Euros, are going to be one of the favorites. Can they win the championship, or will it be a semi-final, quarter-final, final run? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What would be your starting 11 for Portugal? And let's get into the video. Oh, Portugal. I mean, they've really competed in the last couple editions. Semi-finals in 2000. Should have won that final at home. 2008 quarterfinals, lost to Germany. 2012 semi-finals. Ronaldo didn't take that penalty. 2016 campeón. Somehow, someway. I saw a comment in one of the other videos. Oh, you're diminishing what Portugal did in 2016. They drew every game in that group stage. If you told me after that group stage, yeah, Portugal are gonna win, you're loquito. You're loquito. But they did it. Maybe it was just destiny that Ronaldo and Eder, of all freaking players, was gonna win the European Championship. What a run that was, man. Honestly, that team was just... It wasn't the most talented, as we have seen now in the past couple editions and the early 2000s. That 2016 team could not even sniff this team. But what they had? Character. Character, and Ronaldo was going to win that championship no matter what. Unfortunately, he got injured in the final, but Eder saved the day. And Fernando Santos is a winner. And then 2020, a bit of a disappointment. They had a talented team, but defensively, they were really all over the place. Remember that game against Germany? So now we go to 2024. And what is the objective for Portugal? It is to win. There's nothing about it. They should have this kit, by the way. I don't know what their kits are right now. This is the gold standard for Portugal kits. I think they have a very talented team. Nobody can deny. When you have players like Ronaldo, Rafael Leão, Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha from PSG who's balling out, Nuno Mendes, Dalot. I mean, you say those names, Palhinha, all of these guys, you're like, they should win. Bernardo Silva, Ruben Diaz. I can go on and on. It always just seems with Portugal, they always just come up a little bit short. Just a little bit. Maybe it's just the fine margins of, okay, we lose on a penalty shootout, or we don't take our chances, we don't defend well. It's those fine margins, I think, for Portugal, because they got the talent. They just need that character of 2016. If they can have that character of 2016, they could for sure win these Euros. When we get to their Euro qualifying campaign, I mean, look at what they did to countries. They colonized them. They absolutely colonized Bosnia. They did a 7-0 and a 9-0 in Luxembourg, which is basically Portugal 2.0, is Luxembourg. I mean, they were rude to every opponent during those qualifiers, and they didn't really get tested. The only game where they got tested was against Slovakia, because Slovakia scored some absolutely ridiculous goals in that game. Now, they suffered a loss against Slovenia, and I said it in my Slovenia preview, they're not a bad team. And maybe Portugal got a reality check, and that is a good reality check. And unfortunately, with the upcoming friendlies, Portugal are going to play my nation, Finland. Now, if Finland beat Portugal, I'm going to be so shameless. But I'm fearing it's going to be a 4-0 defeat. Well, at least it's comfortable. Because usually when it's Portugal in qualifiers, we're like, oh man, you're biting the nails. You're like, I don't know if they're going to make it. I don't know if they're going to make it. Or they're smoking a cigarette like they're Verratti. But this time around, it was the most smoothest of campaigns possible. Maybe that's because of Roberto Martinez, who actually has done well before with qualifiers with Belgium, and he brought that sort of mojo into the Portuguese national team. I think it's also this team is just ridiculously talented. They could have an A team and a B team and it would still be good. That's how much depth Portugal have, and they destroyed the opponents. I mean, the quick counterattacks, sometimes the ball possession, Portugal were just magnificent, and they have to carry that momentum heading into the Euros. So Roberto Martinez is the manager of Portugal, which was a very intriguing hiring, and maybe a lot of people raised their eyebrows like they're The Rock and said, really? We saw what he did with Belgium. Is he going to be that guy who can take Portugal to that next level of, okay, you're a semi-final, quarter-final team, but winning? Because with this generation, it's about winning. When you have players at Man City, AC Milan, I mean, isn't the objective to win? You have talented players. So is Martinez the right guy? I mean, I would love to see Jose. Jose would be my dream to see him coach Portugal, but we might have to wait a little longer for that. But is Martinez a good manager? He's an okay manager. He's not terrible. I just think when it gets to those pressure moments, he doesn't make those in-game management. Does he have the cojones, for example, If Ronaldo's having a bad game, or Rafael Leão, or one of the Bernardo Silva, does he have the cojones to drop them or sub them out? Well, we're going to find out with Martinez, because at times I feel like, especially with the Belgian team, you saw it at that World Cup and heading into that World Cup, do not take those guys. They were aging and they were not playing well. He did it and it backfired on him. I mean, look at this team, people. Look at this team. Diogo Costa, Rui Patricio, Jose Sa. Now, definitely the goalkeepers, you would say, is the weak link of this team, but Diogo Costa is great with the ball at his feet, but he does make pretty bad errors. And Rui Patricio should not be starting. What I've seen with him at AS Roma this season, and he got benched, the guy should not be starting at all. Defensively, Antonio Silva, Danilo Pereira, Diogo Dalot, Gonzalo Inacio, João Cancelo, Nelson Semedo, Nuno Mendes, Pepe, and Ruben Dias. I mean, the fullbacks? The fullbacks are good. Then they got Inacio, Antonio Silva, two young and up-and-coming center backs. You got Pepe, who's just the leader for everything. Ruben Dias, a very good center back, and we know that. Semedo, I mean, the guy should not be starting, but he can be a good super sub. So, defensively, Portugal are good in that scenario. They have guys who want to defend. Pepe and Ruben Dias want to defend. Then you have two attacking fullbacks of Nuno Mendes and Dalot. João Cancelo cannot defend, and I'm going to get to my lineup soon, and you'll see. But you have an array of different sort of defenders who are good with the ball, can defend. Midfield, Bruno Fernandes, João Neves, João Palhinha, Otavio, who got injured, so he will not be going, Ruben Neves, and Vitinha. The only position I would be worried is maybe DM. Somewhere around there. Yeah, DM. Although you have Palhinha, you have João Neves. They can both play in that position. João Neves, that kid is a baller. I would love to see him start. He's obviously going to be a super sub, but my God, he is one of the only bright spots for Benfica this season, because they were god-awful for majority of it. Somehow they finished second in the league. But I wonder if Bruno Fernandes gets injured, who's going to be that sort of creative spark in the midfield? Obviously, Vitinha is very good, but I feel like Vitinha is an 8 who can drive with the ball, very good passing. But Bruno Fernandes, even though I don't rate him like a world-class midfielder, he is still a very good midfielder. I mean, did you see that assist he gave to Kobe Mino in the FA Cup final? Pooh! That just shows the intelligence he has, and he's very key for Bernardo Silva, Cristiano Ronaldo, João Felix, Rafael Leão to cook. So Bruno Fernandes is key. Midfield is good. I feel like they could just add a bit more bite in there. If they could have like a, I don't want to give this example, but like an Ugarte, somebody who's really going to be defensively solid. Palhinha is a good defensive midfielder, but I feel like his passing is elite. But I wonder if his defensive qualities could be a liability. João Neves is also very good defensively. Now the attack is Bernardo Silva, Cristiano Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, Francisco Conceição, Gonzalo Ramos, João Felix, Pedro Neto, Rafael Leão. Sick. You got Rafael Leão. Now, he needs to turn up for Portugal at a major competition. I haven't really seen it. Yeah, he got a goal in the World Cup, but we see the talent Rafael Leão has. I absolutely love the player. I want him to perform with Portugal at this Euros. Pedro Neto, thank God he's back from injury, because when he plays, you see him for Wolves, what he's doing against the big teams in the Premier League. Pedro Neto is a baller. The only problem for him is injuries. João Felix. João Felix is an interesting one. Good sometimes, terrible sometimes. Good sometimes, very bad. So, what João Felix are we going to get? He could be a super sub. I think that would be a good role for him. Gonzalo Ramos, we'll see if he starts. Conceição, you know, I think he's there for more of experience. Obviously, he hasn't been in a major competition, so it's going to be experience for him. Diogo Jota, you know, I love him. Even though he's not the greatest of footballers, but IQ and always at the right position is Jota. So if you need a goal, sub him in. Then Cristiano Ronaldo and Bernardo Silva. What a sick team, people. Where would you think is a weak link for this team? Do you think it's the center backs, or maybe one more defensive steal in the midfield? Striker? Let me know, people, in the comments down below. So this would be my team for Portugal at this Euros. Diogo Costa in goal, Ruben Dias, Pepe as the two center backs. I would start Dalot over Cancelo. We have seen it now enough and enough. Cancelo is a wonderful footballer defensively, and that's what I want my right back to do, is to defend. He cannot do it. And you cannot rely on Cancelo when it's a quarterfinal or a semi-final, when you're going up against elite attacks of Europe. Dalot has actually been Manchester United's best player this season, and he's very good going forward, defensively solid, I think Dalot should start. And then Nuno Mendes, who I think is the best left back in the world when he's fit. Elite baller. Elite. The two DMs, or sort of 8s and 6s, is Palhinha and Vitinha. I would start Vitinha. Vitinha, also when watching the Champions League with PSG, watching a couple games of PSG in Liga, he's been amazing. He should have scored a goal against Dortmund. He was very unlucky with the crossbar, but his passing as well is sublime. So I think Vitinha could be a really interesting piece to this Portuguese team to add another dynamic of, if a team is sitting in a low block against Portugal, you have Vitinha's passing, you have Bruno Fernandes' passing, so that just adds another element and it's beautiful to see. Bruno Fernandes in the 10, Bernardo Silva right side, Rafael Leão left side. I mean, I think he's going to start, people. Cristiano Ronaldo is going to start. Jota has been injured. Gonzalo Ramos has had a terrible season with PSG, and Ronaldo has scored all the goals. Now, I know the immediate comment people will say in the comments, oh my god, it's all in the Saudi League. The guy's still scoring. Did you see almost that ridiculous bicycle kick goal he scored in the Saudi Cup final? Bro, the guy is 38, 39 years old, and he's still doing that. But I wonder if he's having an absolute stinker of a game. I mean, stinker. And the same thing goes for Leão and Bernardo Silva and Bruno Fernandes. Does Martinez have the cojones to take them off? Because we know Ronaldo, the guy wants to be there all the time and help the team. But sometimes Martinez needs to realize, Ronaldo, you're not doing anything in this game. You got to come off, and then we'll bring on Jota or Ramos. So I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, people. Who would you start in the Portuguese lineup? Would you start Vitinha? Would you start Dalot over Cancelo? Would you start Ramos or Jota over Ronaldo? I think Ronaldo's going to start. I would still start him. If he has a bad first two games, then you could go in the third game, similar to what we saw in the World Cup where Gonzalo Ramos then started in the round of 16 and got the hat-trick. Could be a similar scenario. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. How far will Portugal go at this Euros? I think they're a semi-final final team, and they have the potential to win it. Because with that squad, and we have had a deep dive on it, is incredible. And they should be minimum making it to a quarterfinal. If they go out of the round of 16 or earlier, that is a complete and utter disgrace. And Roberto Martinez should be sacked. Yeah, I don't care. Sack him. Because this team should be making it to a semi-final. Where I would worry is if they go up against a France or Spain, do they have defensively good enough, and have they been tested enough under Martinez to go up against those elite attacks? Because, you know, Slovakia are a decent attacking team. Bosnia are a disgrace and terrible. Luxembourg, we know they're Portuguese 2.0. Then you had Iceland. I mean, come on. That is a walk in the park for Portugal. So, have they been truly tested? Not quite yet. Now, they have a friendly coming up against Croatia, so that will be a good test for this defense, but this team is so good. I expect them to make it to the semi-final. If they win it, I will not be shocked one bit, because they are a top 3 favorite. It is England, France, Portugal. Those are the top 3 favorites for me. There's the preview and prediction for Portugal at this Euros. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How far do you think Portugal will go at this Euros? What is your starting 11? Remember to go check out all the previews of all the nations. All the previews are done, and the prediction video should be out as well, so go check that out on the channel. All of it can be found on the Euro playlist. Remember to join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. All of those links are in the description down below. And remember, everybody, during the Euros, I will be having live match reactions to every single game. We're going to talk about the Germany-Scotland. We're going to talk about the Hungary-Switzerland. We're going to talk about Portugal-Turkey. You all join me for those games after the final whistle, and we discuss it here on the Michael Talks Football channel. But everybody, have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. And soon the Euros start. Oh, what a beautiful time it is. Adios.